Now, my final guest has lived the classic rags to riches showbiz story. She's the girl from Watford who became a Spice Girl, the former office cleaner who became a superstar. She was the fearless one. She didn't just dance with the Prince of Wales, she pinched his bum. Last year, she walked away from the Spice Girls. Why? Well, let's ask her. Welcome, please, Geri Halliwell.
Oh, what an evening, eh?
Very good, isn't it?
It's like group therapy. God. My name's Geri Halliwell and I left a band.
Why did you leave the band?
Do you know what? I knew you were going to ask me that question.
Well, you're bound to know I'd ask you that question.
Yesterday I was sitting in my car and I was thinking, why? And because I want to be as truthful as possible. And if I'm truthful bluntly with myself, which is most importantly, there's a few things you've got to bear in mind. One, it was 8 months ago, and it's still quite tender in my heart. And so I don't actually know the full reasons. There's probably lots. And it's the only way I can describe it. I'll tell you, what I can tell you is the events, and you, Dr. Parker, you tell me, and give me a cure.
I don't know about that, but...
Well, you know, I've got a bit of a history, as you know, we can cover, which, you know, makes me who I am. Maybe that can explain it. But what I can say, you know, the Spice Girls to me was like a marriage. It was a marriage where I fell in love completely, passionately. I needed it. You know, my father had died 6 months beforehand, so I was very militant, I was bossy, you know, I was adamant this was going to fill a massive void in me. And so the Spice Girls and I, we had this whirlwind romance. And, you know, what can I say? Like, 1 in 3 marriages these days, and we were babies when we started. I was the eldest, I was 22. Under the, you know, pressures of work schedules, you know, that marriage, it broke up. You know, it imploded like, you know, I have to say, I'm absolutely gutted it did. But, you know, what can I say it did? I would have liked it to go on. Yes. But I'm always a very instinctive person, and something told me that I had to leave. Yes.
See, I'm more interested in where you came from than where you were with the Spice Girls. Although that's fascinating. Because, I mean, when we were talking to Carol there about background, I mean, you were really poor, weren't you? I mean, poor.
I was Fleabag jumble cell kid, yeah. Jumble cell knickers, yeah. Yes. I mean, which wasn't good. No.
I mean, describe to me what it was like. I mean, what kind of a kid were you? I mean, what sort of a child? What was the circumstances like?
Well, my father didn't work from the day I was born, put it that way. But he was, on one hand, he was a great man. He was well-read, very political. He was a dreamer, very into literature, and he gave me all of that, which I'm very grateful for. And on the other hand, my mother, you know, she's Spanish, very determined, and she was always working. She was my role model. She, you know, example that I had. So I had a real mixture. I was the baby, so I was fueled with confidence on one hand, but then I did feel very different from everybody else. You know, everyone else had lots more material things than I ever did. So sometimes I felt inadequate, and I was very small for my age. So I kind of put all escapism into movies, into Elvis, into music. That was my escapism, basically.
And you wanted to be who? What was the ambition when you were growing up? What was the dream? You couldn't have an ambition coming from where you came from, that's it.
I think I'm a product of media. You know, be rich and famous. You know, that is, if you're famous, suddenly the golden doors open and you're going to be happy, and that's it. So I was chasing this, obviously, something that's, you know, doesn't really exist, but, you know, that's what was my ticket. I was basically chasing a lottery ticket that I could control. Everyone, you know, buys a ticket every Wednesday, don't they? Yeah. You know, I was just chasing mine. Yeah. That's all.
You worked in a variety of jobs, and you worked in a variety of jobs at the same time, didn't you?
Yes.
I mean, how many jobs did you have in 1 week?
Well, I counted all in all the other day, and it's about 40 different kind of jobs. But before I met the Spice Girls, I was trying to put a demo tape together, which cost £300. And I was trying to be the new Betty Boo. And anyway, so I had 6 jobs a week. I had 2 cleaning jobs, behind a bar, aerobics, selling knocked-off tag watches. You name it, I was the Artful Dodger. You know, I'm a survivalist, and I was doing what I can. you know, could till I got there, basically.
So you just had 6 different jobs?
Oh, yeah. Totally. But I was on a mission.
And what about the time you had when you went to Turkey as a game show host?
Oh, yeah, I had to learn that fridge.
Well, I mean...
But it was brilliant. I was, you know, you've got to understand, you know, I left home when I was 16 years old, like Dick Whittington. And when I was about 18, I decided to go back to college. I believe in education, absolutely. I think it's brilliant. And I went back with a different attitude. And I studied English, finance, marketing, and I was there because I wanted to be there. But I had to support myself. So I went out there, you know, during the mornings I was studying, and then I had to pay, you know, my way. So I had to do things like, I was a topless model, and it was called glamour modelling, but it's not glamorous. And I was the game show hostess in Turkey at the weekend.
Well, tell us about both those things, but tell us about the game show hostess first of all. Did you learn how to speak Turkish?
Well, I did have to say the odd word, and basically what I used to do was write it on my arm, then go, "Ses bakalom," or something like, you know, I didn't even know what I was saying, basically. And there was 3 doors, and people would, you know, win a booby prize or the car, and they had to choose it, and you had to stand there, and sometimes it was a chicken or a tyre. But the funny thing was, they used to put me up in this hotel, and I used to think it was fantastic. I was earning a couple of hundred, you know, pounds. I thought it was brilliant at the time. And
the topless modelling too. I mean, that would always come back to haunt you, won't it?
It certainly came back to haunt me, yeah, totally. You know, it was something I did. It wasn't something that I really wanted to do. It paid, you know, for me, it was, you know, good money, but it isn't really. And I didn't do fantastic at it. I mean, the irony of it all, you know, these photographers, they've made a fortune out of it now. You know, I've made Playboy.
But they sold the pictures to Playboy.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And, I mean, you had no means of either stopping that or making some money out of it.
Yeah, funny thing was, they'd want you to, you know, to get your top off and, you know, show your bottom, and then I would be trying to get them at the end of it to do some pictures for my book and do something really arty. But, you know, I don't know what I was doing.
They're not really after that, are they?
No, they're not after that.
Well, you're not the only one.
But to be honest, it was boring. I found it very, very dull. In the end, standing there with a window open to keep your nipples firm was not good.
Is that what they do?
Yeah, they do. They do.
Fix the trade. Yeah. I do.
Very handy. Very handy. You never know. Actually, maybe you could do when you're...
The thing about... No, not me, love. No.
The older man. I told you, Parky, I find you very
Oh, thank you, darling. I was once Spunk of the Month in Australia.
Oh, really?
But,
Sorry, Spunk